Hello, I'm Sophie.
And I'm Zach, and welcome back to class. For today's topic, it is gadgets for General English B1+.
მოგესალმებით, მე სოფო ვარ, ეს კი ზაკია. დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილი შეეხება მოწყობილობებს. თქვენ უყურებთ ზოგად ინგლისურს დონე B1+.
So for today's agenda, like always, we will start with the vocabulary, then move right along to the reading comprehension, and right in the middle, we have the grammar, and then at the end, we have the summary, then we have the homework, our favorite part.
ვიდრე უშუალოდ გაკვეთილს დავიწყებდეთ, მოდით ერთად გადავხედოთ დღევანდელი გაკვეთილის თემას. დღევანდელი ჩვენი დღე დაიწყება ლექსიკის შესწავლით, ამის შემდეგ გვექნება წაკითხულის გააზრება, ამას მოჰყვება გრამატიკული სავარჯიშოები, შემდეგ ერთად შევაჯამებთ დღევანდელ გაკვეთილს და დავასრულებთ ყველასათვის საყვარელი საშინაო დავალებით. Shall we start?
Let's start.
So, Zach, what gadgets do you use the most?
Ooh, I think I use a phone.
Okay, yeah.
My phone, my smartphone, and I also use my computer, but I don't really use any other gadgets. I'm not very good with them.
Okay.
How about you, Sophie?
Well, I use lots of gadgets. I'm really geek. The phone is the thing everyone uses the phone most of the time. Apart from that, I like using my iPad, my Kindle, where I read my books, my laptop for my work, and I think that's it.
No, okay.
These are the most frequent ones.
No, fair enough. Now let's move on right to our vocabulary section, where we have new words for you.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ ლექსიკის შესწავლაზე. ეკრანზე მოცემულია ის სიტყვები, რომლებსაც შევისწავლით დღევანდელ გაკვეთილზე.
So our first word is cutting edge, which is an adjective, and cutting edge means when something is at the very top of the line, top quality, like the best and very new.
Cutting edge in Georgian means უახლესი. Cutting edge უახლესი, cutting edge უახლესი, cutting edge უახლესი.
And next we have indispensable, which is an adjective, and indispensable means when something that you cannot go without. You always need it.
Indispensable in Georgian means შეუცვლელი. Indispensable შეუცვლელი, indispensable შეუცვლელი, indispensable შეუცვლელი.
And next we have obsolete, which is an adjective, and obsolete means when you don't need it anymore or it's useless now because of something new that came out.
Obsolete in Georgian means ხმარებიდან გამოსული. Obsolete ხმარებიდან გამოსული. Obsolete ხმარებიდან გამოსული. Obsolete ხმარებიდან გამოსული.
And next we have handy, which is an adjective, and handy means when something is just useful, when it's always around, it's always needed.
Handy in Georgian means გამოსაყენებლად მოსახერხებელი. Handy გამოსაყენებლად მოსახერხებელი. Handy გამოსაყენებლად მოსახერხებელი. Handy გამოსაყენებლად მოსახერხებელი.
And next we have outdated, which is an adjective, and outdated means when something is like too old or it is just not relevant anymore.
Outdated in Georgian means მოძველებული. Outdated მოძველებული. Outdated მოძველებული. Outdated მოძველებული.
We have worthless, which is an adjective, and it means when it just doesn't cost anything.
So the opposite of worthless is worthy. And worthless in Georgian means უსარგებლო. Worthless, უსარგებლო. Worthless, უსარგებლო. Worthless, უსარგებლო.
And next we have convenient, which is an adjective, and convenient means something that is suitable for your needs.
Convenient in Georgian means მოსახერხებელი. Convenient, მოსახერხებელი. Convenient, მოსახერხებელი. Convenient, მოსახერხებელი.
Now let's move on to the vocabulary section where we will discuss the vocabulary words and their description.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ ლექსიკის სავარჯიშოზე. ამ სავარჯიშოში ჩვენ ერთად უნდა მოვძებნოთ მოცემული სიტყვებისთვის განმარტებები.
So for Sophie, difficult or impossible to exist without or to do something without.
So I think that as we described in the beginning of this set, we said that it's indispensable when something is difficult to change or when something is impossible to exist without. So indispensable would be the right choice for this definition.
No, definitely true.
And the next we have easy to do or not causing problems or difficulties. So what do you think, Zach? Which one?
I think that's definitely convenient.
Very true. The last word that we have defined together, convenient, is easy to do or not causing problems or difficulties. Yes?
And then we have old and no longer suitable for modern purposes, methods, or situations.
In this case, we will have outdated. Outdated is something that is old-fashioned, old, no longer suitable for something. Yes?
Yeah, I think that's right.
And next, we have a quite short definition, useful and practical.
Oh, I think that's handy.
You're absolutely right. Handy is something that is useful or practical. That something is pretty handy. Yeah.
And then no longer used because of being replaced by something newer and more effective.
That would be obsolete, and obsolete can be about can be said about words. For example, obsolete words that are the words that are old and are not used anymore in a everyday speech. Yes.
Yeah.
And the next we have not having any value or not useful.
Oh, I think that's worthless.
You're absolutely right. And as we said before, the opposite of that would be worthy. When something has a value or when something is useful, that's worthy. When something is having no value or is not useful, that's worthless. Yeah?
Yeah. And then lastly, we have the most modern and advanced point in the development of something.
That would be cutting edge. Cutting edge is when something is the most modern, advanced, and new. Yes?
Yeah, I think so. Now let's move on to our next set of vocabulary words.
ახლა კი ერთად გადავიდეთ ლექსიკის შემდეგ ნაწილზე.
So first we have innovation, which is a noun, and innovation is when you create something new or exciting.
Innovation in Georgian sounds pretty similar to English, and it is innovacja. Innovation, innovacja, innovation, innovacja, innovation, innovacja.
And next we have ridiculous, and ridiculous means something that is just crazy or different or unexpected.
Ridiculous in Georgian means uazro an absurduli. Ridiculous, uazro an absurduli. Ridiculous, uazro an absurduli. Ridiculous, uazro an absurduli.
And next we have dismay, which is a noun, and it is a feeling of disappointment or unhappiness.
Dismay in Georgian means იმედგაცრუება ან უიმედობა. Dismay იმედგაცრუება ან უიმედობა. Dismay იმედგაცრუება ან უიმედობა. Dismay იმედგაცრუება ან უიმედობა.
Next we have curve, which is a noun, and it is a line on a graph that goes like this, that shows a difference or a change in something.
Curve in Georgian means grafiki an diagrama. Curve, grafiki an diagrama. Curve, grafiki an diagrama. Curve, grafiki an diagrama.
Next we have ubiquity, and it is a noun, and this word means when something is very common or shows up all the time.
Ubiquity in Georgian means რაიმეს ფართო გავრცელება. Ubiquity რაიმეს ფართო გავრცელება. Ubiquity რაიმეს ფართო გავრცელება. Ubiquity რაიმეს ფართო გავრცელება.
And next we have network, which is a noun, and network is when you have a lot of connections with someone or something.
Network in Georgian means ქსელი. Network, ქსელი. Network, ქსელი. Network, ქსელი.
And lastly, we have splash out, and it is a phrasal verb, and it is when you spend a lot of money or go all out on something.
Splash out is a phrasal verb, and in Georgian it means pulis გადაყრა. Splash out, pulis გადაყრა. Splash out, pulis გადაყრა. Splash out, pulis გადაყრა.
So now let's move on to our reading comprehension.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ წაკითხulis გააზრებაზე. So, Zach, are you a gadget geek or a wait-and-see consumer?
Ooh, I think I'm a wait-and-see consumer. I like to see what everyone else does first. And then, if it's good, then I might get something. But I'm not really a gadget geek.
All right.
How about you?
I'm complete opposite of that. If somebody gives me something brand new, I would like to test it and to see how it works and what it does, and then ask other people to buy it, to promote it, and tell that, oh, it's so cool, it's so great. So yeah, I guess I'm a gadget geek.
Really fantastic. So now we have a reading section. Technological innovations are often quite stupid. The idea that you might want to walk down the street holding a mobile phone in front of your face just to experience the wonders of video calling is clearly ridiculous. Luckily for the tech companies, however, there are some people who jump at the chance to buy into new gadgets before they are fully ready and cheap enough for the mass market. They are called early adopters, and the fate is a terrible one. I should know since I am one myself.
Early adopters have a mecca. It's Tokyo's Akihabara district. It's also known as Electric City, where modern gadgets can be bought. There, in 1999, I bought a digital camera that few people in Britain had heard of. Over the next few years, I watched in mounting dismay as digital cameras became more popular, cheaper, and more powerful until better models could be bought for a quarter of the price I had paid. Did I feel stupid? What I actually did was this. I splashed out more money last year for a new one that let me feel pleasantly ahead of the curve once again. But I know that cannot last, and I'll probably have to buy another in a few years.
You might think we should just stop being so silly, save our money, and wait to see what really catches on. But the logic of the industry is such that if everyone did that, no innovation would become popular. Imagine the third person to buy an ordinary telephone soon after Alexander Graham Bell had invented it. Who was he going to call? Maybe he simply bought two phones, one for a special friend, but still the utility and eventual ubiquity of the device wasn't clear at the time. Indeed, the telephone was originally marketed as a way to listen to music concerts from the comfort of your own home. Nobody dreamed of the possibility of being able to speak to any one of millions of people, and yet, if Telephone Man and the subsequent hundreds and thousands of early adopters after him had not bought into the idea, the vast communication networks that we all take for granted today would never have been built.
So the next time you see a gadget-festooned geek and feel tempted to sneer, think for a minute. Without early adopters, there would be no cheap mobile phones or DVD players. There would be no telephone or television either. We are the tragic, unsung foot soldiers of the technology revolution. We are the desire-addicted vanguard, pure in the heart, dreaming of a better future. We make expensive mistakes so you don't have to. Really, we are heroes.
Now let's move on to the reading activity and answer the given questions.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ წაკითხulis გააზრებაზე და უპასუხეთ მოცემულ კითხვებს.
So the first one, Sophie, what is an early adopter?
So as we read, early adopter is someone who likes to buy the latest gadgets. And let's look at the next question. What can you buy in Tokyo's Akihabara district?
Oh, very new gadgets that just came out.
Very true.
And the next, how were telephones first marketed?
As a way of listening to music, which is quite funny if you ask me.
I think so too.
And the next question, why are early adopters heroes?
Oh, I think because they tried out new inventions for the rest of us.
Very true.
So now let's move on to our grammar section on reported speech.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ გრამატიკის ნაწილზე. დღეს ჩვენ გავაგრძელებთ იმ თემას, რომელიც წინა კვირას დავიწყეთ და ვისაუბრებთ ირიბ თქმაზე.
When we want to report someone's words a short time after they were said, the tenses can either change or remain the same in reported speech. For example, I am going to see the doctor tomorrow, Sophie said to us. Sophie tells us that she is going to see the doctor the next day.
როდესაც გვინდა გადმოვცეთ სხვა ადამიანის სიტყვები მოკლე დროის შემდეგ, ზმნის დრო ან შეიცვლება, ან იგივე დარჩება, რაც პირდაპირ თქმაში იყო გამოყენებული. მაგალითად, I am going to see the doctor tomorrow, Sophie says to us. Sophie tells us that she's going to see the doctor the next day.
Certain modal verbs change in reported speech as follows. will, shall turns to would, and may turns to might, and can to could. And can to could would be able to future reference, and must to must had to obligation, and shall to should asking for advice.
ზოგიერთი მოდალური ზმნა ირიბ თქმაში იცვლება შემდეგნაირად. თუ მოცემული გვაქვს will and shall, იგი შეიცვლება და გვექნება would, თუ მოცემული გვაქვს may, იგი შეიცვლება და გვექნება might, თუ მოცემული გვაქვს can, იგი შეიცვლება და გვექნება could, თუ მოცემული გვაქვს can, იგი შეიცვლება და გვექნება could an would be able to, როდესაც საქმე ეხება მომავალს, თუ მოცემული გვაქვს must, იგი შეიცვლება და გახდება an had to, ან დარჩება იგივე და გვექნება must, როდესაც საქმე ეხება მოვალეობას. როდესაც მოცემული გვაქვს shall, იგი შეიცვლება და გახდება should, როდესაც should-ს გამოვიყენებთ რჩევის მისაცემად.
In a type 1 conditional sentence, tenses change in reported speech as follows. The present simple becomes past simple in the if clause, and will becomes would in the main clause. For example, if I have the time, I'll come around, said Michael. Michael said if he had the time, he would come round.
პირველი ტიპის პირობითი წინადადების დროს დრო იცვლება შემდეგნაირად. აწმყო მარტივი დრო გადაიქცევა წარსულ მარტივ დროთ if-თან წინადადებაში, ხოლო will გახდება would მთავარ წინადადებაში. მაგალითად, if I have the time, I will come around, said Michael. Michael said if he had time, he would come around.
Type 2 and Type 3 conditionals do not change in reported speech. For example, if she knew, she would help us, said Tony. Tony said that if she knew, she would help us.
მეორე და მესამე ტიპის პირობითი წინადადებები არ იცვლება ირიბ თქმაში. მაგალითად, if she knew, she would help us, said Tony. Tony said that if she knew, she would help us.
The verb tenses and time expressions change in reported speech. A, when reporting someone's words a long time after they were said, out of date reporting. B, when we consider what the speaker says to be untrue. For example, I like Shakespeare's plays a lot, he said to us. He told us that he liked Shakespeare's plays a lot.
დრო და დროის აღმნიშვნელი გამონათქვამები იცვლება ორ შემთხვევაში. პირველ შემთხვევაში, როდესაც გადმოვცემთ ადამიანის სიტყვებს, რომელიც დიდი ხანია ითქვა, რასაც უწოდებთ out of date reportings, და მეორე შემთხვევაში, როდესაც გვგონია, რომ ნათქვამი სიტყვები არ არის მართალი. მაგალითად, I like Shakespeare's plays a lot, he said to us. He told us that he liked Shakespeare's plays a lot.
The verb tenses can either change or remain the same in reported speech. A, when reporting someone's words a long time after they were said, out of date reporting. B, when reporting a general truth or law of nature. For example, the sun sets in the west, the teacher said. The teacher said that the sun sets in the west.
დრო და დროის აღმნიშვნელი გამონათქვამები ან იცვლება, ან იგივე რჩება, როდესაც გადმოვცემთ ადამიანის სიტყვებს, რომელიც დიდი ხანია ითქვა, რასაც უწოდებთ out of date reportings, ან როდესაც გადმოვცემთ ზოგად ჭეშმარიტებებს ან ბუნების კანონებს. მაგალითად, the sun sets in the west, the teacher said. The teacher said that the sun sets in the west.
The verb tenses remain the same in reported speech when the introductory verb is in the present, future, or present perfect. For example, the singer says, I enjoy cycling. The singer says that she enjoys cycling.
ზმნის დრო რჩება იგივე ირიბ თქმაში, თუ შესავლისთვის გამოყენებული სიტყვა say and tell არის აწმყო, მომავალ ან აწმყო სრულ დროში. მაგალითად, the singer says, I enjoy cycling. The singer says that she enjoys cycling.
Now, let's move on to the grammar section where we will rewrite the sentences in reported speech. So first, Sophie, we had booked the room before we left, they said.
Previously, in our last lesson, we need to find the verb and we need to determine in which tense this verb is given. In this case, we have two verbs. We have had booked and we also have left. Therefore, we need to change these two verbs into a correspondent past tenses. In the first case, we will have past simple or past perfect, and in the second case as well, we'll have either past simple or past perfect. They said that they had booked the room before they had left, or they said that they had booked the room before they left. Both versions are correct.
And then next, so those were good times for my family, Anna said.
As we said previously, we need to find the verb here as well and the tense. And as we see, we have past simple, where, and this where will change into past perfect, and we will have Anna said that those had been good times for her family.
And next, you mustn't do that again, Mum said to Dad.
In here, we see that we have a modal verb, and in this case, it will stay as it is in the direct speech, and we will have Mom told that he mustn't do it again.
And they are working hard today, he said.
In here, the same rule will apply. The verb is in present continuous, are working, and therefore we need to change it into past continuous. He said that they were working hard that day.
So now let's move on to the summary section.
ახლა კი მოდით ერთად შევაჯამოთ ჩვენი გაკვეთილი.
So first we had two sets of vocabulary words that we talked about. Then we went on to the reading section where we talked about different gadgets. And then we went right along to the grammar section where we discussed reported speech.
And now it's time to move to homework.
So for your homework, please write a short paragraph about your favorite gadget.
საშინაო დავალებად გთხოვთ დაწერეთ აბზაცი თქვენი საყვარელი მოწყობილობების შესახებ.
And remember that we have an example of the homework for you so you have an idea of what to do. So please send your homework to the address on the screen, and on this address you will see an example of the homework so you know what to do.
გთხოვთ გამოაგზავნეთ თქვენი დავალება ეკრანზე მითითებულ ბმულზე. ამ ბმულზე ასევე დაგხვდებათ დავალების ნიმუში, რომელიც შეგიძლიათ გამოიყენოთ. And now I think it's time to say goodbye.
I think sadly so, yes.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, thank you.